Okay, so the enemy have been making ham out of us. The ever-popular laser-sighted hip-firing nubs are in abundance, and I'm guessing I'm going to need to act fast with something quick, effective, and that will potentially deliver a sharp shot to the ribs. Well, to be fair, I can only think of one class that fits the bill, and that would be the Remington shotgun 870 MCS. This is the gun that if it were a movie, it would have an 18th certificate. If it were a meal, it would be so hot and spicy it would come with a disclaimer. And if it were a shotgun, it would probably... Oh wait. Oh, I've gone too far, haven't I? Oh well. I feel an introduction to this gun is obsolete, as it makes its presence known wherever it goes. The cute thing is, not many of these nubs use it. The main reason for that probably being that a shotgun like this actually takes a bit of skill to use. Unfortunately, when looking at the kill feed in this game, it depicts an overuse of a certain kind of weapon and class setup. But, God forbid I should mention this, I'll probably get some dislikes on this video. But anyway, back to the weapon. And when talking in real terms about its power and strength, it could probably be compared to that of a young lady. Maybe even one you could say of a kind of diva-esque nature. For instance, it's got style, it's got class. It's easy to handle and sometimes efficient and deadly, but also at the same time it makes you work for its affections. When put in front of an enemy as they're staring down the barrel, it can knock them off their feet, and that too can go with some surprising long distance shots as well. However, like any diva, this gun comes with its flaws. Its inconsistency, it's untrustworthy, and when left to its own devices and taken out of your watchful sight, it can fuck everything up and lose control. So the only thing that leaves you to do is to do what you would do with any diva, is to give it some accessories. Now the majority of these accessories do a certain job, but with things like the red dot sight, I wouldn't really recommend it. What I would recommend is putting on the long barrel and the quick draw handle. Now to be honest with you, I know that a lot of you may be surprised that I never mentioned the laser sight, and there is a very good reason for this. This gun does its own kind of work when fired from the hip. The bullet spread on it is virtually non-existent, so that means that spamming the trigger is an absolute impossibility. That's where the quick draw grip makes sense for a better attachment, because it gives you a certain edge. You see, the problem with this gun is, taken away from the power, there's a certain space in between each shot, an almost bit of a slowness if you will. So you whack on the quick draw handle, take control of the diva and get her to do exactly what you want her to do. Because this is your world. This is a man's world, and us men have got to take control. So anyway, let's talk about perks you want with this. Well, let's be realists. Extreme conditioning and lightweight are an absolute must. There's absolutely nothing worse than turning a corner and finding an enemy out of range, and knowing you've got a split second of time to make your way over to him within sight of your range, do a jump shot, and take his head clean off. Also, I would definitely recommend putting on tactical mask and flak jacket. The simple fact for these two is, the amount of times you're going to be rushing and charging into rooms, you're potentially going to be walking into shock charges, bouncing betties, claymores, and various other little nasties that have been tucked away neatly out of sight, waiting for you to walk in unexpected and be immobilized. Now, as far as your green perks, I will potentially say it's pretty much down to yourself. You see, the thing is, I've equipped toughness, but sometimes that can be a little bit pointless when you get into a gunfight, because you are literally aiming down sight and trying to get that one singular lucky or maybe accurate shot off. The fact of the matter is if somebody does start shooting you, you're probably going to be dead anyway. So I would say I'd just leave that one down to yourself, down to your own discretion. Now the unfortunate thing is, with the effectiveness of this gun comes a little bit of inconsistency. For instance, you can quite easily ADS at somebody who's within perfect range of yourself, take off that shot and suddenly realise you've just fired a complete blank into nothing. But when you watch the kill cam back, you know full well you got that shot on target. So, you give it a dressing down, give it some humiliation, and in this respect, try putting a silencer on it. Granted, it makes it a piece of shit, but it'll certainly take it down a peg or two, and make it work for its bread. Or maybe I've just got that wrong, because like any diva, this gun is sneaky, and it's actually making me do the hard work. Because while the attachment is fun to use all the same, I would probably have a little bit more luck running around the map breathing halitosis on people, because the range is virtually non-existent. But it does make for a hell of a lot of fun, and sometimes It can have some cheeky little surprises in store.
Hardpoint identified.
Stay on that hardpoint. Now I'll try to attack this side with the tank.
UAV inbound.
Dropped him.
I've got this side covered.
Shoot him.
Still, I wouldn't get your hopes up with it. It does make for an absolute share of hard work, and there certainly are more better guns and classes to use than this. So anyway, to recap, if you was to ask my opinion about this, I would say put it on. Run around a smaller map and have yourself some fun. This gun will surprise you, it will please you, but it will also frustrate you at the same time. And I do feel that a lot of people may disagree with this, but I definitely think this gun needs a buff. Even if anything just to iron out the inconsistency of range shots. It certainly doesn't need any power taken away from it, that's for sure. And it definitely doesn't need any power adding on. But the one thing it does do is it gives the hip-firing submachine gunner nubs something to think about when they next bump into you in a short space. Remember, the quick draw handle is key. Anybody can be lazy enough to fire from the hip with a death laser hand cannon, but it takes a pro to pull the stock up to his eye, take a deep breath, and fire a shot off with two thoughts soaring through his mind as he does in a split second. The first one being one of hope that that shot is going to be a one-hit kill, and the second one is fear. Fear of hit markers. Fear that your numerous previous kills of good hard work are going to get completely out the window, thus immobilizing your nice little point streak you had running on. Oh well, such is the game. Anyway, stick it on and have some fun. But I will say this, if you're a bit of a KD whore like me, just be prepared to see a bit of a dent knocked into it. I'll see you later guys. Next time, the KSG. Jesus, I'm not looking forward to that.